What's up, guys? It's Josh with JTM Racing. So today we're going to be installing an intake on the Durango. Now, I bought the intake off of eBay, which, like I always say, eBay is not a brand. It is a website you buy stuff. So you get name brand stuff, you get off brand stuff. It all really depends on what you go with. So this was a bad purchase though. It was like $33.29 or something like that price-wise, so it was really cheap. Air filter is good quality, but I tried to put it on yesterday, or tried to install it yesterday, and it didn't fit. So of course I left bad feedback. I don't know who the seller was, but whatever. Now, what I'm gonna do today, actually headed to Harbor Freight, and we're gonna pick up a saw, and we're gonna probably pick up some couplers, or couplings, whatever you want to call them. So the reason why is the piping is too long, doesn't fit right. The piping does have where you have like a sensor insert, like a little rubber grommet. I have no sensor on my truck that goes in that. So I'm not too sure what the deal is. It's just bad quality. I mean, the piping isn't, the air filter isn't, but it's just bad quality. You know, it doesn't fit. It doesn't match the description. So I don't know if I got the wrong intake or what. But first of all, I got this little coupling here. These are all too big for the piping. So I'm gonna get a size like a little bit smaller. I mean, this one will work, but the other one's way too big. So these are at Home Depot. And we're going to Harbor Freight. That's what that catalog is right there. And we're gonna pick up that saw. And if I see anything else I like, we're gonna pick it up, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna kind of custom fit this intake and make it work, because I know it will. Just takes a little bit of finesse. So we'll be back. Here we are, Harbor Freight. All right, guys. So we picked up the saw. It's in the back. Got a metal cutting blade. It's not the craziest saw, but I just got like your basic ass $97.99 Harbor Freight cutting saw. So like I said, I got the metal blade. Cost me probably 114 bucks out the door. But now we're gonna go into Home Depot. So we're gonna go into Home Depot, get these couplings, and hopefully they got the size they should. It's just in plumbing, so I'll show you what's up after. Alright guys, so I ended up going to AutoZone because all the couplers at Home Depot were all a little bit bigger. Even though they were 3-inch, they were still a little bit bigger than the one I had, which this one fits a little loose, so I didn't want to go any bigger. I went to AutoZone, picked up one of these Spectre ones. These are a little bit tighter fit than this, so I'll probably wait till another one comes in, because they only had this one. And when it does, I'll switch this one out, but I'm going to make this one work for now. So, but that's what we need to get the job done. And like I said, I got the saw, so I'm going to go back home, cook me some breakfast or eat something, and then we'll get started on cutting the tubing and getting it all to fit right. Alright guys, so we're coming up to this light. I have the AC off, and I kind of show you like a before and after with the intake, see what it sounds like and what the power gains are maybe. I turn the AC off so we can see the full potential. That was the 0 to 60. About to lose my receipt from AutoZone. But yeah, so see what it can do 0 to 60, and we're gonna go home and eat, and I can get started on it. Alright, let's get some revs from the outside of the vehicle. Here's your stock intake setup. Air filter box. Intake tube going to your I don't know, this would just be like an intake box as well. This is where a lot of your restriction is in here. But yeah, let's so that's how it sounds stock with no intake on it. Turn that off. show you a closer look at the saw I bought. So this is what we got. Cut off saw. 97 bucks. And we got our cutoff wheel right here for metal. 24 grit metal. 1/8 of an inch thick. But that's what we're going to be using to cut the piping. Now, let's talk about the intake a little bit. Alright, so of course I didn't buy that with it. That was from AutoZone, like I said. Now you got some tubing or some hose for your valve cover to your intake tube. This is probably to a PCV valve of some sort. Now you do have your intake piping. Now this is the piping they sent. Not that it is bad quality, but it is the wrong length. Both of these pieces are probably going to be trimmed, and if I can, I'm actually going to try to trim off this section where this sensor is, because I don't have one. So alright, so this is the coupling it came with, which is small end fits, but none of this piping fits to this bigger end. This is probably like a 3" to maybe a 3.5 to like a 4. Here's the one that will work. It's a little bit smaller, which doesn't make sense. Why would they, send 2 different sizes of piping for the same size piping all the way through? Even the throttle body is the same size as the piping as well. So you got clamps in there, stuff like that. So then let's put that away. And then the filter is actually somewhat good quality. So this is the air filter, just matte black, nice and simple. You did have a couple different color choices like blue, red, yellow, stuff like that, but the Durango is like a champagne color, so I'm kind of going to go black with a lot of stuff on it. Even the rims that I get later on, because the plan is to lift it like 4.5 to 5 inches and throw like some 33s on it. Some deep dish black rims, kind of like maybe like those moto wheels or something like that. Nothing too crazy, but I want it to look pretty dope, so I'm kind of going for that stance. But yeah, so pretty much what we got to do is got a bolt here, bolt there, you got a nut here, and then inside this air box under the air filter there's another nut. And you got a clamp here and a clamp back here. That's all you got to undo to get that whole box off and that whole intake tube and the air box, and then you got this extra tube going into your fender. This is coming out too. So standard toolkit will work for this, like just use, simple ass toolkit, nothing too crazy. I believe all the bolts and nuts are 10mm, and then you need a flathead. So we're gonna get started on it, and then I'll kind of talk to you and tell you how we're gonna trim it and stuff like that. So keep watching. Alright, so I got the whole intake setup off the stock airbox and stuff. So much more room in here. So what I'm probably going to do first is, since this coupling's a little bit stronger than these cheaper ones I have, I'm going to go with this tube and this coupling to the throttle body. And then this one that has the hole for a sensor and for a PCV, probably going to use this at the end of the intake, because it's going to go something like in here like this. That other tube's going to come around, connect to this, go down, and your air filter will be down here by the wheel well. So first, get this tube on. There's the saw out of the box, the metal cutting blade. We'll place the other one in here. I'm going to turn this at different angles just by loosening that, and we'll chop it. But one thing at a time, so let's just get that first tube on there. Alright guys, so I got the first section of the pipe on, all snug with the couplings. Now what I'm going to do is, out of one of the piece of pipes I have for the second section of the intake, I'm going to make a 90. Now let me show you it over here. I'm probably going to trim this side off to make it a little bit shorter so it's more like a 90. Now this will kind of be probably making it more like a 45-degree angle when I do this, but I'm going to trim off this section to get rid of where the sensor would go, because my truck doesn't have a sensor, so I want to delete that. I want it to look clean. So all you have left is just the PCV hookup, which I get new hose with that. And on how I'm looking at making the intake, it's going to hook up perfect to where the hose is located under the hood. So that's what we're going to do, and you'll know and see what I'm talking about after I get this all trimmed down. So, alright, so we got that piece all chopped up. So there's some left over, that's some left over. This is what I'm stuck with. It's probably more about a 35-degree angle, but it's going to work perfect. So when you get it on here, it's going to loop right down here. Here's your air filter. You'll see it more when it's done. And then PCV line, hook right up to it right here. We're all good to go. I do got to make some bracket for that maybe sometime, because this is going to rub a little bit. Should get about 5 or 10 horse. That's an estimated guess. It all depends on how responsive your motor is to mods, like just bolt-ons. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some more donkey force out of this bad boy. I really can't wait to hear what it sounds like, because you get that real deep throaty sound when throwing intake on something, and you're gonna excuse me, you're gonna definitely hear it, since I don't have an aftermarket exhaust yet. But we'll get back to it. We'll hit that thing up with a file, because kind of does that to the piping when you cut it. This is how it kind of should look like. So I'm gonna file down that other side, just waiting for it to cool down, and we'll get that bolted up. So that's it installed. Take from throttle body to air filter. That's where it's going to sit. If I really want to, I could probably turn this and angle it a little bit more to where it kind of faces this spot. We'll see how this does. And all I got to do is hook up this hose. So I took off the stock hose. Now what you're going to do is, see, I got a bigger hose, but the inlet to the intake is tiny, right? So what you do, this is a little trick. Take a bigger hose, get a hose that's smaller that fits in the inside of this hose. What you're going to do is you're going to take that smaller piece of hose, you're going to stuff it on that, and then you're going to put your bigger piece of hose on the other side, and then you're going to slide it over this smaller piece of hose, and it works. And then you can clamp it. You don't necessarily need to clamp it for this, but if you want to, you could. So we're going to put that on, and then we're going to fire up. Alright, so there's your hose, right into the intake. Let's fire her up. Don't want to hit my house. See if she's breathing a little bit more. You can hear her breathing a little bit more. Oh yeah. Big difference. So we'll take her around the block and rip it. Alright, so let's see how she sounds. Let's turn the AC off. Definitely has a deeper growl. Sounds actually pretty mean. I'm definitely happy with it. Let's get this next light. Don't want to piss off any of the neighbors. Not stock no more. Once I get that Hypertech chip and a Flowmaster 40 series, it's going to sound pretty mean. Get a 0 to 60 here. Let's see. Definitely pretty badass sounding. I'm happy. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. We're gonna wrap it up. Was a success. Got that intake to work, even though we had to do some customizing. Had to trim that one piece down. If you want to do a really clean, using the type of blade I did use on the saw, you're gonna need a file. They do make blades that cut a lot cleaner, to where you might not need to use a file, but in that case I didn't have that. I just bought the blade I bought, so did have to file it down. But get all that extra metal off, because you don't want any of that metal getting sucked up into your throttle body. Definitely will mess up your motor. So but I do feel a little bit more power, nothing crazy. The sound is great. Gonna get better, you know, MPGs, as long as you stay off the pedal, because obviously you hear that now and you want to get on it and you're gonna burn up more gas. But if you just cruise, you should get better gas mileage. So, but that's done. I also kind of had a thought, it would be kind of dope to buy like another Durango, maybe not as clean, or if I find one just as clean, whatever, but buy another Durango and turn it into like a drift SUV. Like, I think that'd be sick. Like straight out 4.7 liter like I have, gut it out, roll cage it, 4-point harnesses, racing seats, lower it a little bit, actually a lot, have a sick ass stance on like some diamond steely wheels, you know, some deep dish, and give it all kinds of angle up front. That'd be kind of wicked. But you know, I was thinking about something like that would be cool, maybe turbo it. Of course, way down the road, I have way too many projects now. So, but later on, gotta have dreams, right? Gotta have goals. So I think that'd be sick, something no one has ever done. But that's it for today. I hope you liked the video, and please subscribe, like, comment my videos. You know, ask any questions. I got you. And that's it, man. So peace, guys.